It begins with a sound, a fragment of a voice, captured for just a moment before it was lost. The call came in at 2:17 a.m. on the 12th of November, 2025. It was logged in the emergency dispatch system for the Northumbria Police. The record is there, clear as day. A digital footprint in the server's memory. It has a timestamp, a unique call identifier number, 251112-0488, and a duration 58 seconds. But there's a problem. There's no audio file attached, no operator name, no dispatch notes, just a ghost entry, a digital phantom that proves a call was made, that someone reached out for help, and that the system, in some fundamental way, acknowledged it. The log itself is profoundly unsettling. It's a paradox. It tells you everything and nothing all at once. It confirms that a connection was established between a mobile phone and the emergency network. 58 seconds is a long time when you're in trouble. It's long enough to plead, to explain, to scream. It's more than enough time for an operator to ask, "What is your emergency?" and get some kind of answer. Yet, according to the official records that followed this initial entry, none of that happened. The call simply exists as a line of code, a marker in time, before it evaporates into the digital ether, leaving a void where a response should have been. What makes this digital ghost so chilling is the denial that followed. When investigators, months later, presented this log to the Northumbria Police, their response was simple and unwavering. We never received it. They searched their records, their audio archives, their personnel logs. They insisted that no call operator took a call from that number at that time. They claimed it must be a system error, a glitch, a stray piece of data that means nothing. But the log is there. It's a stubborn fact that refuses to be dismissed. It's the electronic ghost at the heart of a story that ends in a disappearance. So you're left holding two conflicting truths. On one hand, you have a computer log, an inanimate and supposedly objective record that says a call for help was made. It lasted for nearly a minute. It was registered, logged, and assigned an identifier. On the other hand, you have the official statement from the very people meant to answer that call, who say it never reached a human ear. They claim it was a non-event, a technical anomaly. But someone was on the other end of that line. Someone was waiting for a voice that never came. And after that call, he was never seen again. Let's try to piece this together, minute by minute. It's what you do when you're faced with a mystery. You build a timeline, you look for the cracks. At 2:17 a.m. on a cold Tuesday morning in November 2025, a call is placed to 999 from a mobile phone belonging to a man named Liam O'Connell. The call connects to the network. We know this because the system generates that log entry, 251112-0488. For 58 seconds a line is open. At 2:18 a.m., the connection terminates. The log shows no dispatch, no unit assigned, no follow-up. It's a dead end. At the Northumbria Police Dispatch Center, it was business as usual, or so they say. Call logs for the minutes surrounding Liam's call show other emergencies being handled. A reported break-in at 2:15 a.m., a traffic incident at 2:21 a.m. These calls have audio recordings. They have operator IDs and detailed notes. They are complete. Liam's call is wedged between them, an anomaly in an otherwise orderly sequence of events. It's like a book with a missing page. You can see the story before it, and the story after it, but the most crucial part has been torn out, leaving only the ragged edges behind. The denial from the police is where the timeline becomes truly fractured. Months later, when Liam O'Connell's family hired a private investigator, who uncovered the phone records and the subsequent system log, the police were confronted with the data. Their internal inquiry concluded that no operator ever spoke to Liam. They stated that the log entry likely represented a ghost call, a known but rare phenomenon where a network error creates a log for a call that never actually connects to an operator. It's a tidy explanation. It absolves the system of failure and the Department of Responsibility. But the family's telecommunications expert had a different view. He argued that the 58-second duration was too long for a typical ghost call, which usually lasts only a few seconds before the network drops it. He believed the call was routed to the dispatch center but was somehow lost before it could be answered. So, the timeline is this. A man in distress calls for help. A computer registers the call. The call lasts for almost a minute. And then, nothing. The official record says it didn't happen. The digital record says it did, and somewhere in that contradiction, Liam O'Connell vanished. How does an emergency call just disappear? It's a question that gets into the very architecture of our trust in technology. The 999 system is supposed to be robust, redundant, and fail-safe. It's designed with the understanding that lives depend on it. When you dial that number, you expect a human to answer. But what if the call gets stuck somewhere in the middle? In the complex journey from your phone, through a cell tower, to a network switch, and finally to a console at a dispatch center. There are multiple points where something can, and occasionally does, go wrong. It's a chain, and every link has to hold. One possibility is a routing error. Think of it like a letter getting lost in the post. The call from Liam's phone was addressed to the emergency services. It left his device and was sent on its way. But instead of arriving at an operator's headset, it might have been diverted into a digital cul-de-sac. This could be due to a software glitch, a momentary server overload, or a configuration error in the complex telephony system that connects the public network to the police's private one. The system knew a call existed, that's why it created the log, but it didn't know where to send it. Another theory, one pushed by the police department's IT consultants, is the idea of a hung port. In this scenario, the call connects to the dispatch center's hardware, occupying a port, but fails to properly signal its presence to the software that an operator uses. To the computer system, the line is active, hence the log and the 58-second duration. But to the operator, their screen remains blank. No incoming call alert, no flashing light. It's as if someone is standing outside a locked door, knocking, but the person inside is wearing headphones. The call is technically there, but it's completely unheard. This is the most unsettling part. It suggests a silent, invisible failure. It's not a loud crash or a system-wide blackout. It's a subtle error that affects a single critical connection. The system's own health checks might not even detect it. Everything would appear to be functioning normally, while one person's desperate call for help loops in an endless, silent hold. The technology that was built to be a lifeline became a barrier. The system didn't just fail to work, its failure was so quiet, so seamless, that for months, no one even knew it had happened. To understand the weight of that silent call, you have to understand what was happening to Liam O'Connell. Liam was a 29-year-old architectural historian, a quiet man who lived in a remote cottage on the Northumberland coast. His passion was exploring and documenting abandoned ruins and forgotten structures along the coastline. On the night of November 11, 2025, he told his sister Chloe that he was heading out to photograph the ruins of Dunstanburgh Castle under the light of a full moon. He was an experienced walker and knew that he packed his camera gear, a flash, he had set up his equipment as planned, ready to capture the moonlit scene. But something went terribly wrong. His mobile phone records are the key. After a series of text messages to a friend earlier in the evening, the phone goes silent until 2:17 a.m. That's when he dials 999. What could have happened in that time? Did he slip near the treacherous cliff edge? Was he injured? The coastal path there is notoriously unstable, especially after heavy rain. Or did he encounter someone else out there in the dark? The area is isolated, desolate. It would be an unusual place for a chance meeting, which makes the possibility all the more frightening. For 58 seconds, Liam was connected to a system he believed would help him. We can only imagine the scene. Him, possibly injured, cold, with the wind picking up and the storm rolling in. He's on the phone, perhaps trying to explain his location, the urgency of his situation. He might have been shouting over the wind, "I'm at the castle," or "I've fallen," or something else entirely. He's talking, pleading, waiting for a response, but no voice ever answers. The line stays open, filled only with the sound of his own voice and the growing storm, until it cuts out, and then, silence. When a person disappears, you're left with only the echoes of their life. For Liam O'Connell, the loudest echo is that 58-second call. The police search began the next afternoon after his sister reported him missing. They scoured the coastline with helicopters, lifeboats, and ground teams. They found his footprints, his tripod marks, but not him. The tide was high that morning, and the seas were rough. The prevailing theory from the authorities was tragically simple. He slipped, fell into the churning North Sea, and was swept away. It's a plausible, logical explanation, but it doesn't account for the phone call. If he had a simple fall, why the call? And what happened during that minute? The lack of audio is a black hole in the center of the investigation. Without it, we are left to speculate based on fragments. Friends described Liam as meticulous and careful, not a risk-taker. He was a strong swimmer. Would he have been able to call 999 after a fall into the sea? It seems unlikely. It's more probable that he made the call from the cliff edge, either just before or just after an accident, or perhaps because of a different kind of emergency altogether. This is where other theories begin to creep in. The area, while remote, is not entirely deserted. There are isolated farms and cottages dotted along the landscape. Local rumor, unsubstantiated but persistent, speaks of occasional poaching and other illicit activities in the area at night. Did Liam stumble upon something he wasn't supposed to see? Did he photograph something other than the castle ruins? In this scenario, the 999 call wasn't about an accident. It was about a threat. He was trying to report a crime in progress, or perhaps calling for help while being confronted. This theory casts the 58 seconds in a much more sinister light. Was he trying to speak quietly, hiding from someone nearby? Was he struggling with an assailant while the line was open? The absence of a body also fuels this speculation. While the sea is a likely candidate for his disappearance, the lack of any remains or debris washing ashore has left the door open for darker possibilities. Without the audio from that call, we can't know if his last words were a cry for help from an accident or a plea for rescue from a person. The static where his voice should be contains all of these terrifying possibilities. Following the failed 999 call, Liam O'Connell effectively ceased to exist. The last verified trace of him is that digital log entry at 2:17 a.m. After that, he enters a realm of pure speculation. The official search effort was extensive. For 2 weeks, rescue teams walked every inch of the coastal path. Divers explored the waters below the cliffs, and drones mapped the area from above. They found nothing, not a scrap of clothing, not his camera bag, not his mobile phone. It was as if he and all his belongings were simply erased from the landscape. The police investigation officially concluded that his death was a result of misadventure. The coroner recorded an open verdict, acknowledging that while a fall into the sea was the most probable cause, the lack of a body made it impossible to be certain. The case was closed. For the authorities, the story had an ending, albeit an untidy one. The vanished 999 call was noted as a technical anomaly, a footnote in the tragic file of a man who went out to take photos on a stormy night and never came home. It was an inconvenient detail in a simple, sad story, but for Liam's family, the story never ended. His sister Chloe became a relentless advocate for the truth. She couldn't accept the simple explanation. Liam was not clumsy, she told a local newspaper in 2026. He knew those cliffs